Did you know that every single day, people around the world drink an incredible 2.4 billion cups of coffee? To keep up with this massive demand, millions of workers harvest endless tons of coffee beans. But here's a question. How exactly are 175,000 jars of coffee produced every day? To find out, we're taking a trip to the Nescafe factory to uncover the secrets behind one of the most beloved beverages on the planet. Coffee isn't just popular, it's a global obsession. In fact, it's the second most consumed beverage in the world, right after water. The story of coffee goes back over 1,000 years and begins with a fascinating discovery. A curious shepherd noticed his goats acting unusually energetic after nibbling on certain berries. And just like that, coffee was born. Today, coffee is cultivated in over 60 countries worldwide, and each region brings its own unique flavors and aromas to the table. Brazil leads the pack as the world's largest coffee producer, responsible for over 35% of global production. And it all starts with a tiny flower that eventually transforms into grape-sized berries after 9 months of growth. Speaking of transformations, let's talk about Nescafe. This household name owes its origins to a Swiss chemist named Max Morgenthaler, who, back in the 1930s, was on a mission to create soluble coffee. Nestlé took notice, acquired the rights to his invention, and launched the iconic Nescafe brand. Fast forward to World War II, and Nescafe became a favorite among U.S. troops and Allied forces because it was easy to transport and prepare. After the war, its popularity exploded globally, cementing its place in coffee history. But what makes every cup of coffee so special? A lot of it comes down to the region where it's grown and the meticulous roasting and blending techniques used by producers. Harvesting coffee is no small task either. Once the berries ripen to a vibrant red, they're carefully hand-picked. Harvesters aim for precision, returning to the same plants to gather only the fully mature berries, ensuring no more than 2 green ones for every 100 leaves they collect. It's an intricate, labor-intensive process, but it's what makes that perfect jar of coffee worth every sip, and this is just the beginning of the journey. Once harvested, the coffee berries are loaded into trucks, with each sack holding about 2 kilograms of coffee beans. That's enough to brew around 200 cups of coffee. Harvesting by hand is no easy task. It's physically demanding and time-consuming. To make the process faster, some coffee plantations rely on machines, like the impressive 5-meter-tall harvesters. These giants can do the work of 100 people by vibrating rods to shake the ripe berries straight off the branches. Freshness is key when it comes to flavor. That's why the berries collected in the morning are quickly taken to a wet mill where the real magic begins. Here, water channels rinse the berries, guiding them into a screw auger that moves them toward a deep pulper. This machine separates the outer skin and fruit from the precious coffee beans inside by pressing the berries against its rotating drum. From there, the beans flow through more water channels to massive rotating cylinders, where they're sieved to weed out any green, unripe berries. The next step, a refreshing bath in water that helps extract a thick, sugary substance from the beans. Once cleaned, the beans are spread out on a large cement patio to dry under the sun for 4 days. Workers rake them regularly to ensure they dry evenly. After drying, the beans pass through a huller, which removes the remaining husk. Then they're sorted by weight into 3 categories using an oscillating table. Each category is carefully bagged into 69 kilogram sacks, which are sewn shut and stacked, ready for their journey to coffee processing plants. Every year, an astounding 35 million tons of freshly harvested coffee fruits make their way to plants like the Nescafe factory, one of the largest instant coffee facilities in the world. Here, the process scales up dramatically. Around 170 tons of coffee beans are delivered daily from South America, with up to 560 tons stored in a massive silo at any given time. Each day, 1,200 sacks of raw materials arrive at the factory, where the journey of turning beans into soluble coffee begins with one critical step: sampling. Workers carefully poke each sack to collect samples, ensuring only the finest beans move forward in the process. At the Nescafe factory, 2 types of coffee beans take center stage: Arabica and Robusta. Arabica beans are known for their smooth, aromatic flavor, while Robusta beans pack a punch with a stronger body and more intense taste. Once the batch is approved, it heads into the production line, where the beans are put through a sieve to remove any larger bits or debris that might have slipped in during the process. Next up is the cleaning phase. The beans move through a series of sieves that help eliminate any remaining impurities, ensuring only the best make it to the final selection. After they've been cleaned to perfection, the beans are stored in silos, each one labeled by variety and type, ready for the next step in creating soluble coffee. And then, it's time for roasting. The beans are placed into a massive roaster, where they're heated to a precise 210 degrees Celsius for about 12 minutes. This is where the magic happens. As the beans heat up, their starches turn into sugars, and those aromatic compounds responsible for coffee's rich, complex flavors are released. The roasting process also burns off some of the caffeine, which is why darker roasts tend to have less caffeine than lighter ones. Throughout this stage, the beans are constantly stirred to ensure they roast evenly, avoiding any risk of burning. Once they've reached the perfect roast, the beans are transferred to an industrial mill, where they're ground into a coarse powder. Now comes the fun part, extraction. The ground beans are mixed with hot water to release all those rich flavors and aromas. As the coffee brews, it heats up, condensing into a thick extract. This is then spread out on a conveyor belt and sent to the next stage, the freezing room. Here things get cool, literally. Every hour, 30,000 liters of coffee travel through heated pipes, reaching a temperature of 70 degrees Celsius. The water evaporates, and what's left behind is a concentrated coffee extract. To preserve its flavor, the coffee goes through a process known as freeze drying. The coffee infusion is quickly frozen to around minus 50 degrees Celsius, causing the surface to form a thin layer that can easily be broken into pieces. This process ensures that all the delicious flavors and aromas of the coffee are locked in, ready for you to enjoy. The next step in the process takes things to another level, literally freezing. Workers at the Nescafe factory suit up in thermal gear to brave the freezing temperatures of minus 50 degrees Celsius. The liquid coffee is spread out on a conveyor belt and blasted with cold air, transforming it into an 8mm thick sheet of frozen coffee. From here, the frozen granules are carefully placed into shallow trays, each holding 15 kilograms of coffee, enough to fill 75 jars. These trays are then sent through a sluice into a massive vacuum chamber, where the air is completely removed. This vacuum environment is key for the next step: sublimation. In the drying chamber, heat is applied to the frozen granules, causing the ice to transform directly into gas, skipping the liquid phase altogether. This unique process locks in the coffee's rich flavor and aroma, ensuring it tastes as fresh as possible when you open the jar. Once the water is removed, the coffee powder is ready for packaging. Hundreds of glass jars move swiftly along a conveyor belt, and in the blink of an eye, less than a second to be exact, they're filled with coffee. This incredible machine fills 280 jars per minute, working tirelessly for over 11 hours to meet the day's production target of 175,000 jars. To maintain the coffee's quality, the jars are vacuum packed, keeping the contents fresh for up to 24 months. Next, labels are applied and the jars are bundled into packs of 6, ready to make their way to supermarkets around the world. And just like that, the journey from bean to jar is complete. From the fields to your kitchen counter, every step of the process ensures you get to enjoy the perfect cup of coffee. If you loved learning about how coffee is made, give this video a thumbs up and share your favorite coffee fact in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more fascinating content like this. Curious about how gold is extracted from the earth? Click the video on your screen now to see another amazing process. Thanks for watching.